So we have somebody special on today, and it's my friend Sherri Hoke, and she is from Chicago.
Hi,
And
Richard. Thanks for having
hey,
me.
hey, Sherri. So first of all, to start, tell me what has your market been like before coronavirus? Just a little bit about your market, a little bit about what was selling, a little bit about you know entry level prices,
Mhm.
etc. Tell me about Chicago.
Leading into, let's call it pre-March 18th, our market seemed to have been getting stronger. Our sales volume was up for March, almost 20% over March of 2019. And keeping
Wow.
in mind, we had less than 3 weeks of, the strong March spring market. That speaks volumes on what was happening in our market. The first quarter of 2020 was the largest quarter for our company here in Chicago, and March being the biggest month that we've had. So, things were really looking good for 2020. The market was softer in 2019, so we were all excited to see things turning around slowly but surely. Prices were not really going up, the small amounts, like 2 to 3% in the stronger, more established neighborhoods like Gold Coast and Lincoln Park. And then those numbers went up considerably if you look at micro markets like Logan Square, Avondale, where we have seen exponential growth. But in the more established neighborhoods that we all know, like River North and some of the others I just mentioned, we saw a little bit, but really what came down was days on market. That coupled with having a warmer season,
Yeah.
it really felt that our spring market was kicking off early.
So tell me what's entry level in Chicago in your marketplace? A
Sure.
million and a half or
So it really depends. And Chicago, I would say, is made up with micro markets. You have your established, venerable neighborhoods like Gold Coast, River North, Lincoln Park, even parts of Lakeview that are often strong. And sorry about that brief
no problem.
interruption. I obviously forgot to put my notification on. Uh, so the established neighborhoods, we don't have the peaks and valleys like we might in some of the more emerging neighborhoods. So let's talk in the sort of established neighborhoods first. Your entry level, 2 bed, 2 bath, 1,100 square feet could be 400,000
So
and up.
you're talking condominiums.
Yes.
Yeah.
So condos in that price point, those are still moving. And the 3 to 7, most brokers I've talked to in the area, and I speak to many on a regular basis now, people are feeling like that 300,000 to 700,000 are still moving.
Yeah.
We're able to virtually show. We are making FaceTime videos. We're doing virtual open houses. So those are some of the tools that we have that can help sell these in a safe way. Um, on the other side of things, over a million, which is really the entry level for single family homes in Lincoln Park, probably 1 million to 1,300,000. Gold Coast about 1,700,000, 1,800,000, and up from there. I did a quick little search, and in 8008, which encompasses Gold Coast and River North, some of our most popular, most established neighborhoods, the median list price is 1.599 of the units under contract, and 18 units went under contract within the last 30 days. So that gives a
That's
good
great.
picture of what's going on in River North and Gold Coast in the last 30 days since we've been on lockdown.
So things are still selling. Now, let me ask you a question because for some of us with Toronto, and I'm thinking the other areas as well, when it's a condominium and you've got, a board, etc., sometimes they're not allowing us access.
And we have that problem too here. There are many buildings here in the city, Water Tower, which is 180 East Pearson,
Right.
the Bristol, One Bennett Park, which is new construction related. It's latest highest end building. Robert A.M. Stern, it's his first building in Chicago,
Oh
which is,
no.
yes.
Yeah.
And we have many units to sell there. It is listed with our brokerage, and there is no access. And really it's important to protect the residents. So I get it. But it certainly presents a challenge for us.
Yeah, it is. It's we have one right now that's a wonderful listing that should sell, but we can't get people into it. And we've done virtual walkthroughs. We've done pretty much everything. but it's just not getting the attention. However, the other side is there's so much activity online that we don't want to take it off, because when things clear up, it'll have had many, many eyes on it. And, that's the good news.
It is. And I do believe, knowing how much pent up demand that we did have and multiple offers that we had going into this pandemic, I do believe that that is going to come back and then some, because so many people are doing that stretch test with their homes. They're,
Yeah.
tired of looking at the same walls, or maybe all of a sudden they want to have that great view because they don't want to look
or
at the guy next door.
or the same partner.
Oh, that's a whole different industry that I'm glad I'm not a part of.
Well, we are a little bit,
Yep,
we are a
and
little bit at
that
the end of the
industry
day.
is going to get busy.
It is, yeah.
Everyone's
It's either,
projecting that one too. Yeah.
yeah, it's either going to be lots of babies coming up in 9 months, or
Hmm.
lots of divorces, and lots of new properties. And it'll be interesting to see which happens first. And I'm sure it's going to be, a mix of everything.
And
So
I
tell
think
me,
lots of
yeah,
new vacation homes.
yeah,
There's a lot of people out there who don't own vacation homes, not because they can't afford it, but because they like to try a new place each time and
right.
visit a new resort property. I think that's going to change now, where people are going to want to have that sort of,
Place
you know,
to escape.
exactly.
Yeah.
And whether they're going to rent or buy for the long term, I do think that second home market is going to explode.
So in Illinois, in Chicago, are they trying to tell people not to go out to their country place, or to stay basically in the city?
Um, they're not really talking about it here. Not that I've heard. I know
Yeah,
many people with lake houses and that are out in the woods, and we're not hearing it like I'm hearing it. Many of my friends in New York went out to the Hamptons right away, and many of
right.
them unfortunately brought coronavirus with them. And the
Yeah,
biggest issue with that is that they don't have the healthcare there to support the number of people who needed help.
yeah,
So some of my friends actually had to go back to the city for treatment and then went back out, which is great. Here, we don't have that type of density in the lake towns, and our lake towns split between the Indiana Dunes, the Michigan shore, the shores of Michigan and
right.
Southwest Michigan, and then also Wisconsin. So, and Wisconsin is so vast between a few different lake areas that we don't really have that kind of density where the whole city goes to, one little pocket like the Hamptons
Yeah.
or Fire Island or some of those areas.
Yeah, in Toronto, a lot of people go up to the North Country where our friend Sean works, and the reality is they've asked the premier of the province has said, please do not go to your country house, because we just don't have the facilities to, if you get sick, we don't have the facilities to look after you.
Wow.
Stay in place in your home, in the city you were in normally. So a lot of Torontonians, we did have some friends who went up north last week from our street, but they've it's the premier's been saying shelter in place, don't leave, and because
Wow.
of it, a lot of it to do with the healthcare system.
And did they still go? And
Yeah,
they still went. And they're
they
okay
still
though.
went, but you know what?
They're okay.
There's Yeah, as far as I know, I mean, that's the problem. You don't know. We've had one friend who got very sick, and he said it was a horrible situation. He ended up in the hospital. None of your friends can visit you. None of your family can be there. And the first question they ask you is, if we cannot revive you, do you want us to let you go? And then those are questions you have to answer on your own. They have a whole bunch of questions,
Right.
and they basically you have nobody to turn to and nobody to say, oh, please, give me your thoughts on this.
Right.
It's just basically, if we have to intubate, here's, do you want to do not
DNR. Hmm.
a DNR, oh, scary. And those are decisions you have to make on your own, nobody around, no family, no friends, nothing.
Right. But they will actually, I don't know about in Canada, I know here, from my own personal experience in the last, 6 months, is that they will send in a therapist if you don't know the answer. They'll say, if you say, well, I don't know, what do you think? What should I do? Because
Yeah,
if I'm an otherwise healthy young person, too young to, then they'll say, oh, well, if you'd like to speak with someone, we can send someone
yeah.
in to discuss it
But
further.
sadly, by the time he got there, he was basically out of it
Oh,
completely. Had no idea, thank God he reacted well to whatever help they gave him, and now he's back at home. But
and he's
yeah, he's
recovered?
fine. Yeah, he's fine. He's recovered from it. So yeah, but he said
Oh, that's fantastic.
it was really tough, and also there was it was he thought for sure he was gone. He thought for sure he was gone. So, anyways,
Well, I'm glad to hear he's better.
yeah, me
That's
too,
really
me
good
too,
news. We
me
need
too.
more of the
So
good stories.
let me ask you more about protocols. So you said you just met a client, you met a service person at a condo.
Yes.
So what did you have to go through to get into the condo? Would you mask and?
Sure. So in Lincoln Park, other than up along Lakeshore Drive, we have many small condo buildings.
Yeah.
Some are 3 units, some are 4,
Ah,
or up to 8 or 12. So this is a condo in an 8-unit building, and so there are no rules really according to the homeowners association. So I just do what I'm told how I should protect others and myself, which is mask, gloves, and then I have in my pocket hand sanitizer. So as soon as I touch any handles that are in the common areas, I
yeah,
then hand sanitize with my gloves on. So because theoretically with gloves on, as soon as you touch something, they're now contaminated.
exactly.
And it's too hard to switch out your gloves every time you touch something. So I just
I
do
know.
hand sanitizer. I go through a lot of it. We have
Yeah,
cases.
yeah.
Um, so that has been really helpful. And then the N95 mask. So yesterday, the whole day, I had lines coming down my face because I had a 1-hour showing.
Yeah.
And if that was only an hour showing with an N95 mask, I can only imagine what the nurses and doctors are
I
going.
know the nurses and doctors are spending 8, 10, 12, 14 hours with those masks on, and it's hard. I know the minute I put mine on, my glasses fog up
Yep.
and I perspire underneath. So, you know, anyways, it's one of those new normals that we're going to get used to. And
Who
it
even knew what an N95 mask was, 45 days ago?
exactly. We're trying to see if we can get a gross, like a large amount to buy for the company, and then the agents can, take them for their clients. Because we both, I'm sure you agree, though, this is not going to be a quick thing. This is going to be a big fix. So tell me what's going to happen with the marketplace, though. What do you think is going to happen? Are we going to deal with a boom or a bust?
My crystal ball.
Yeah,
Um, Well, I think it depends on how long this goes. And I
yeah,
think that people in Chicago, people really want to be careful as to when things reopen. We are not like some of the other states where you have people protesting that their rights are
ah,
being infringed. People here feel very strongly, as a whole. Obviously, there's people out running when the mayor
yeah,
told them to stay home, but on a whole, it feels that people are being very cautious and cautiously optimistic as well. People want to get back at some semblance of normal life while
yeah,
everybody knows it won't be normal. So that said, I think people want to get back out and looking. But now when we have showings, I had a showing yesterday, they were seeing 2, mine and one other. They had already
yes,
weeded out everything from online videos, from property videos and
yeah,
floor plans.
yeah.
So our first showings now are more like second or thirds from before because they've really spent time to
Yeah,
evaluate location. They're looking at Google Maps with the street
yeah.
view.
The days of going out and showing 100 houses to one buyer are gone.
Yeah.
They've actually been gone for a while because of technology and stuff, but I think those days are really really gone as well. It's
Hmm.
just it's tough. It's a new world out there. So, anyways, I
Right. And
just
and and so with my crystal ball, I would say renting is going to get a lot stronger, especially in the high-end rental market, because our
yeah
out-of-town buyers can't see 20 houses, nor do they want to. They can't even get into the half that they want to see because families live
yeah
there and they don't want to let them in. So what I think is that typical, Chicago $2 million buyer, I think is going to rent for a year. And then we're going to have the big swing where people are going to buy once the dust settles. I think all those
yeah
buyers are going to come back out.
Yeah, I think the only thing that worries me is the economy, and if people have lost their jobs, or people have downsized, or people have, been, if all of a sudden people get so used to working from home that they no longer have to live in downtown Chicago, downtown Toronto, they decide, well, I can live out in the country and I can just, telecommute.
And they will.
and
That's
and
going
they
to be
will.
big.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they will, and it'll be a big change, and it'll also, we'll see. I'm a little concerned that we might be dealing with the R word, recession. Somebody said to me, recession is when your neighbor's house doesn't sell for a good price, and depression is when your house doesn't sell for a good price.
I
Anyways, on
like that.
that note, I just want to say thanks again to Sherri Hoke from Jameson Sotheby's, and we are now under the same ownership, which is great. You'll enjoy the people from Peerage. They're wonderful. So I
Well, I
just want
look
to say
forward to it.
thank you again. I really
Thank
appreciate it.
you. Thank
Thanks for
you. Great to see you, Richard.
great to see you as well. Thanks for spending the time.